Welcome to year 7 of my NHL '08 Dynasty Mode with the Carolina Hurricanes. This is the 2013-2014 NHL season, and I've already kind of started to rewrite the history of the Carolina Hurricanes going into this decade. Of course, the Carolina Hurricanes would not make it to the playoffs for like 9 years straight. So already we've made the playoffs first of all, and then we've had success in the playoffs. But we just got to get over that one last hurdle and actually win the Stanley Cup. We have not done that yet in 6 seasons of simulation. Well, year 7, I have a good feeling about it. This team looks really good. Tuomo Ruutu, Eric Stahl, and Jordan Stahl in the first line. That is a dominant first line for almost any team to be able to handle. The second line, you have two 87s with Dave Bolin and Andrew Ladd, and then you have Wade Celios, who we know is playing way above an 82 overall, with just how he simulates. On the third line, Bob Bollerice making a big jump, making his NHL debut as a 79 overall playmaker on the left wing third line. On the wing for David Colleton, who's been in the league now a couple years for us. He's kind of hovering around this high 70. Maybe he'll get into a low 80 overall. I'm fine with him just being a steady third line center for us for a long time. Justin Keller got a huge jump, but unfortunately, I don't know if he's going to get more ice time because of that. I think that's just going to be something that bolsters our team depth-wise in the simulation for these playoff runs in the season simulations. On the fourth line, we've got our old trusty Joseph Vasicek still plugging in that fourth line center for us. And Sergei Erdashev, he's a similar type guy. We've just got these guys grinding down here on our fourth line. And Simon Horkoff, 75 overall, 22 years old. He's got good offensive and defensive awareness. I really like that. That's one of the first things I look for in a player is their offensive and defensive awareness. On defense, Matt Lassoff is now better than Keith Ballard, so our top line just looks really good. Our second pairing, we've got Tim Gleason, and we're going to go with Dakiv on the second line. He's 25, so this needs to be a big jump year for him, so we're going to give him second line time. Zinoviev is 1 year younger. He's also 1 overall, so he's got a little bit more time to develop. If maybe we decide not to re-sign maybe a Keith Ballard, an aging Keith Ballard who might want like $8 or $9 million if we decide not to re-sign him, then Zinoviev would then jump up next season to have second line time to be able to grow. And maybe Dakiv or Gleason then gets first line time. And we got Brett Carson, who just was too good for me to deny this season. I really like Kirk Flaherty, but unfortunately Kirk is just going to have to be in the AHL this season, and we'll get to that later. Or we'll just get to that right now. We look at the AHL team, and Kirk Flaherty, he's holding it down for us on the first defensive line. We've optimized these lines for what we want for growth of these players. We've got Jared Bates, 21-year-old, 72 overall, 93 potential defenseman on the first line. On the second line, we have Theodore Bure, 20 years old, 99 potential, 70 overall. He's still young enough and good enough to where this guy might actually be able to grow, but I want to give him the right amount of time. I don't want to put him on the first line and maybe stunt his growth if he's just getting dominated. But pairing him with Telkvist with an 80 defensive awareness, that's going to be good for him. And on the third line, we've got our draft pick, Boris Korolyuk, 6'6", 18 years old, 90 potential, 62 overall. I need one of my draft picks to grow. Please, can I have a draft pick that I chose grow? And speaking of our draft picks, we have Bob Gomez is one we drafted, 22 years old, 66 overall, not looking good. Brad Manlow, 23 years old, 64 overall, not looking good. Tom Gleason, 21-year-old, 64 overall, 95 potential. Tom, come on, you want to play with your dad, right? You want to crack the NHL roster and get to play with your dad. Your dad's getting a little bit older now. Come on, Tom, you got to grow for us. So I'm trying to give him the time. And our first round pick from this season, Maxim Tursunbayev, a 19-year-old, 63 overall power forward with 94 potential. We got these guys in the lineup. We've got better players scratched so these guys can get time. I didn't even talk about Arkatov. This guy's 20 years old, 73 overall, 99 potential. He is playing first line time for us. He's a sniper. He could be dangerous in the NHL. He's on our first line. Tim Payer, 21-year-old, 72 overall, 99 potential. His offensive and defensive awareness are not good right now, but all his other numbers are pretty well-rounded and almost NHL caliber. So once the offensive and defensive awareness jump up, his overall will jump up. Who knows who's going to be the next Bob Bowlerice and get that big jump up to where I just can't deny them NHL time. And looking at the captains, we do have Kirk Flaherty as the captain. I'm going ahead and throwing in Theodore Bure. I have a good feeling about this guy. This guy is the young defenseman with a high potential. I'm trying to put him in a leadership role, and maybe it'll force him to grow. I'm also doing the same thing with Arkatov, these young guys that I have a lot of belief in. I'm just putting them in the limelight right off the bat, trying to force them to grow. With that, there's not much more to do besides just get this Year 7 simulation started. This should be a smooth ride into the playoffs. How long has Jordan Staal been out? I didn't even know he was gone. Alright, Peltola's only played one game. He got an assist. So maybe Jordan was only out for one game. We're sitting here 12 games above 500, and I still just have this feeling that we're losing more games than I would like. But I was thinking, like, what more could I do to put out a better team? Like, I feel like I've put out the best team I possibly could. I might could adjust the defensive lines a little bit, but I feel like this is just what we're gonna have to be. I feel like the league is close. It's a difficult, tight division. We're just gonna have to keep battling. So we have made it to the All-Star break. Nothing like a 6-game losing streak to really get your heart fluttering. Thank goodness some of these were overtime losses, or our record would look a lot worse than it actually does. It actually doesn't look that bad, but when you look at this month's simulation, it looks really scary. It's just because they were all in a row, and then all our wins have been in a row as well. Just a really streaky team. We've seen this before, really streaky simulations. Taking a look at the player stats at the midway point through the season, Tuomo Ruutu once again, I would say leading our team in points, but he's actually tied with two other guys, Wade Celios and Eric Staal. All three of these guys have 53 points in 53 games played, and Andrew Ladd has 52. Jordan Staal has 50. So I think the thing that's going on with this simulation is we have so many guys that are really good with such high overalls. These numbers have to get spread out. If I only had just Eric Staal and Jordan Staal, and then I had everyone else filled out like 70 overall guys and the rest of the lines, then Eric Staal and Jordan Staal would probably have 120 points a season. But since we have so many good guys, the points have to get spread out amongst them all. And you see Tuomo Ruutu, Wade Celios, and Andrew Ladd both on the second line. They have chemistry, obviously. 35 assists for Andrew Ladd, 30 goals for Wade Celios. These guys have chemistry. The first defenseman I see is Matt Lassoff. Not surprising. Dude has been a stud ever since we picked him up. I do miss Ladislav Smid. I wish we had Ladislav Smid. He's a good player, but Matt Lassoff has become everything we could have wanted and more. David Colleton, 12 goals, 14 assists, 26 points. He's getting a point every other game. Dakiv looks like he had a little injury, but he still has 24 points in 49 games. He's getting a point every other game, and he's, a relatively defensive defenseman. Bob Bowlerice having a decent rookie year. He's already got 12 goals. Bob Bowlerice has more points than Keith Ballard. We see Keith Ballard down here. He's still a plus 14, but from somebody you would want to be a number one defenseman getting $8 million a year, assistant captain, you'd want maybe a little more out of Keith Ballard. The entire NHL points midway through the season, I don't think these number totals are quite as crazy as we've seen in the past. We've seen guys mid-80s in the past. but you never know how they can finish out the season. You've got your usual suspects: Vanek, Crosby, Malkin, Kovalchuk. Alex Simmons has put himself in there. Rick Nash is having a good season. And then you got Hosso, Ovechkin, yeah. Thornton's always up there. In the AHL, Tom Gleason is actually leading the team in points, and he's not even on the first line. Then you got Karpatsev, Bootland, Morrow. Arkhipov is not having quite the season I would want him to have. Look at the goals, though. All these guys have over 10 goals. So a lot of goal scoring. Tursunbayev is having a good year. Our first-round draft pick. Good for Tursunbayev. Manlow, Payer, who's got first-line center time, is all the way down here. Even Brad Manlow is above him. No goals, 21 assists for Theodore Bure. That's still good numbers. He should be able to grow. So quick change on the fourth line. I'm taking Vasicek out, and I'm putting Peltola in. Just a little post-All-Star break, season break here at the end of February. I think we know pretty good and well that we are not going to make any moves at the trade deadline. We have pretty much cemented ourselves as one of the top runners in the NHL. We're sitting right now at 4th in the entire NHL with a pretty good gap to all these guys right here below us. So I feel like we just need to kind of cruise on to the end of the simulation. We're in the race for the President's Trophy at this point. We're only 2 points behind first place in the NHL right now. So no need to make any changes. This team made the Stanley Cup Finals last season. We haven't really made many changes from that team that we had last season, and our players have gotten better. So let's just keep cruising. So you would have noticed a couple weeks ago, Cam Ward went down with a severe injury until the middle of May. I have no idea how long my mic has been muted. I've just been doing this entire simulation. Who knows how long it's been muted. But Cam Ward has gone down, and ever since he's gone down, we have started to lose games. We are plummeting in the division standings, and we have to turn to free agency. I mean, we might miss the playoffs here. We go to affordable and we go to goalies. We got to sign a goalie. We've been losing games, but we're turning to free agency. I'm in a panic right now. We go to affordable and we look at the highest overall. There's 3 guys here sitting at 80 overall: 23-year-old, 24-year-old, 25-year-old. I'm not sure if any of these guys are actually going to hit their potential. Maybe this Lopez guy, he actually has a couple more years of growth in him, so he might become a decent backup goalie. But I think we need to take a shot on our very own Kovalchuk. In the same division with the Atlanta Thrashers, the Carolina Hurricanes are going to try to sign their very own Kovalchuk to try to make a playoff push. The contract is sent. The problem is Cam Ward's going to be out until even after the first round. Even if we make it in the playoffs, I mean, let's look at the standings. I don't even know if we're going to make it in right now. We've been plummeting games. We do have... there's maybe barely a buffer here. These teams are in the high 80s. We only have 93. Point blank period, we still need to win some games here. We're not totally safe. And we could just lose out with this goalie that we have in right now. So look at that versus Atlanta straight off. Every point is crucial at this point in the season. Will the free agent goalie sign with us as well? That's something else that's up in the air. He's rejected the offer. The roster is full. Oh, no. What do? We got an overtime loss, though. We snuck a point. Can I put Jordan Stahl in net? Can I do something? And I can't cut anyone, and I can't trade anyone. We can't sign a goalie. Oh, we're just stuck here. We're just stuck here at the mercy of the simulation. We're going to go one game at a time. We need wins right here. We need a win. A win would be so huge. The Tampa Bay is such a good team. We win! We win! That is huge. They are right above us in the standings. We jumped them in the standings, actually. Did we clinch? Did we clinch anything? Please, we haven't clinched yet. I'm so scared, dude. I don't trust this team with this goalie in the net. Goalies are so important. I've always talked about a really good goalie being a great equalizer for bad teams that have a really good goalie. you win games, you steal games. When you have a bad goalie, you can lose games you should have won. I mean, look, we've given up 5 goals, 6 goals, 8 goals. Even the game we won, we gave up 4 goals. Every single point is crucial. An overtime loss would be big here. A win would be massive here. It's a regulation loss. It's a regulation loss. I don't even want to look yet. I don't even want to look yet. We need more points before I look at the standings. We need to get at least 1 more point before I look at the standings again. There's a win. That's a shutout win. Ooh, the goalie said, "What are you talking about? What are you worried about?" And he gets a shutout. And the Carolina Hurricanes, thank goodness that we have clinched a playoff spot. But I don't think we are out of the woods yet. Like I said, Cam Ward is injured until the middle of May. So he's going to be out for the whole first round probably. I mean, I wish that we could get the same sort of, like, why can't I just play my goalie even though he's hurt? Who cares if he's out until August? That doesn't matter. Let's just throw him in there and have him play. Maybe he'll win the Conn Smythe. Each day that this schedule is not released for this playoff is just another day that Cam Ward might be closer to coming back. There's another one. And the schedule is out. And in the 2014 playoffs, the Carolina Hurricanes are going up against the Washington Capitals. And look at their records. The Carolina Hurricanes were 45-27-10, and the Capitals were 43-27-12. These teams could not be closer in the standings. It is such an even matchup on paper looking at the teams' records. So I think this is officially the Carolina Hurricanes' 3rd year in a row making the playoffs. We made it to the Eastern Conference Finals the first year. The second year, we made it back to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then we got over that hump and made it into the Stanley Cup Finals, only to lose to the Detroit Red Wings. So for the 3rd year in a row, the Carolina Hurricanes are back in the playoffs, and teams have to be worried about them. We are coming for the cup. This year in the West, you have the Stars going up against the Oilers, Vancouver going up against St. Louis, Nashville again going up against Colorado, and then you have San Jose going up against Anaheim. The Blackhawks not making the playoffs this year. Not that far removed from actually winning the Stanley Cup in this universe, I don't think. In the East, Pittsburgh is going up against Buffalo. Boston is going against New York. Tampa Bay is going up against Atlanta, and we are taking on the Capitals. Player stats for the season. Tuomo Ruutu, once again, another year at the top of the leaderboard for our team in scoring. Yes, he's tied with Eric Staal, but for Tuomo Ruutu to be putting up these kind of numbers, I really didn't expect that when I signed him to his $3.75 million contract or whatever that was. So this is someone who's just, his value on his contract and the numbers he puts up. I mean, he had a 40-goal season, 46 assists, 87 points, over a point per game. This guy is extremely valuable to our team. And then naturally, you have the Staal brothers right there. Eric Staal, Jordan Staal, 87, 86 points. Yet another season being over a point per game. Wade Celios, he didn't get 40 goals, he didn't get 80 points, but he's still having a really good career so far. I mean, I don't think he's had a season less than 60 points so far. Maybe even less than 70. Well, you know what? We can find out real quick just looking at this right here. All right, so his first year he did have 67 points, but ever since then he's had over 70 points each season. Andrew Ladd right there with him, 72 points. Matt Lassoff breaking into 50 points. Dave Boland, 49 points. David Colleton, the third line center. He's got some power play time, but 45 points for David Colleton. That's really good. And then right after him, you got the rookie, Bob Bolerice, 43 points, 27 goals. Not bad for the rookie. Keith Ballard, 41 points. Dakiv, 34 points. Justin Keller is right there with 30 points. Just a tough grinding guy for us. Zinejev and Gleason. Brett Carson's there. Horkoff, so 16 points minus 48. I don't know if he's going to grow with numbers like this. So maybe trying to get him to grow is just all going to be for nothing if they're not going to grow getting scored on that much, you know. Peltola, ever since we put him in, I think he played really well for us. Erdashev. Vasicek was getting dunked on, man. Holy goodness gracious. 73 goals for Ilya Kovalchuk. That is insane. 131 points, 73 goals. That is actually incredible, and only 4 penalty minutes. Evgeny Malkin also broke into the 60 goals. He had 125 points. Marian Hossa had 81 assists, just dishing out to Ilya Kovalchuk every chance he gets. Thomas Vanek, Sidney Crosby, Danny Heatley, Alex Simmons. See, our team is just too well-rounded for us to get simulation numbers like this. Looking at the rookie skaters, Bob Bollerice was tied second. Kelly Morita, who was claimed by Vancouver, he was actually on our team. We sent him down and he got claimed. His rookie season, he had 43 points, the same as Bob Bollerice. Our guy had more goals, but nobody could really match Adam Ald on the Boston Bruins. 71 points as a rookie. Holy crap. 25-year-old, 82 overall, right wing. 92 potential dangler. This guy looks good. All right, looking at the AHL player stats for the season, Rob Bootland finishes the season on top with the points, 69 points. That's nice. Arkatov actually did end up having a good season, so maybe we can get some growth out of him. Tom Gleason, he started off the year super hot, kind of cooled off towards the end, but still had a good year. Moro, Karpatsev, Payer came around towards the second half of the season. Manlow, Flaherty is up there. Tursunbayev, our first-round draft pick from last season, 19 goals, 19 assists. All right, looking at the Washington Capitals, their team actually looks really good, man. Their first line, everyone in the 90 overalls, 97 overall, Alex Ovechkin, of course, and then you have Alex Simmons, and their center is also a 90 overall. Their second line, they also have 287 overalls on their second line like we do, along with an 84 overall. On their third line, they have a pretty stacked third line. My goodness, an 84, an 85, an 81 overall on their third line. Their fourth line, they have an 80 overall, a 79, a 77. They look pretty deep, man. What do they have on defense? Oh, they got some good defenders as well. It's hard to find guys that are in the high 80 overalls on defense in this game, and Washington has them. All right, who do they have in net? They have an 89 overall Kelpalainen in net. So this team looks like they could be really dangerous, especially when you realize that Cam Ward is going to be out for pretty much this entire first round playoff series. We're going to have to go up against Alex Simmons and Alexander Ovechkin and the really tough Washington Capitals. This is going to be an intense playoff series for the Carolina Hurricanes this first round. So next episode, will the Carolina Hurricanes be able to survive the Washington Capitals in the first round? Can we survive a Cam Ward injury? I remember in year 4, I think it was, Cam Ward went down at the end of the season, and we looked like we were making the push to be a playoff team. Cam Ward goes down, and then we totally miss the playoffs. We simply just don't win as many games as we lose whenever Cam Ward is not in net for us. So if the Carolina Hurricanes can somehow survive this series with the Capitals, maybe Cam Ward can come back for the second round and get this team back on its feet. But I'm really scared. I'm really intimidated. I'm scared. I should trust my squad. I like our players. I think we have good players, but other teams have good players too, and you really need your best players to be healthy come the playoffs. And unfortunately, we are not that. Is this the year that the Carolina Hurricanes can finally get a Stanley Cup? Will it be year 7, or will it be another year of failure in the playoffs?